but I can't believe it. I told ya. Oh, yo, nigga. Oh.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable that we have to go through common sense yet again. I don't get why people go and believe so many false rumors, false hype. They get themselves so excited for each gaming event like it's going to be the second coming of Jesus. And Gamescom 2019, unfortunately, on their opening night, it turned out to be garbage. Why is that? Why is that, I wonder? Well, it's a factor of two things, in my opinion. I think number one is that some developers really don't have anything to show, especially Capcom. People were believing rumors about Resident Evil 3 Remake, even though they have the Ambassador program going on right now, where they're testing out the game like sometime in the next coming months or so. It doesn't mean that they will show a trailer at another convention fresh off the heels of Resident Evil 2, which was a few months before. And then a lot of people are expecting DMC 5 DLC with Virgil, when I knew that if I tempered my expectations, scaled things back just a little bit, take probability and facts into account, I would realize that DMC 5 came out 5 months ago. 4 or 5 months ago, give or take. It's not ready for a new potential DLC if there was a new potential DLC, and I don't want them to rush this out like they did with Devil May Cry 4. So, I didn't expect anything, and I didn't get anything when Gamescom 2019 rolled the fuck around. This was by far the worst Gamescom presentation I ever seen. And this common sense element needs to come into play. People, for the love of God, stop getting overexcited for rumors, clickbait, theories, speculation, and not taking it with a grain of salt. I'm so tired of people making up these fucking short lists each and every single time. These fucking short lists of games they want to see, games they want, and then ultimately what happens is the game that's on that list, what you demanded, doesn't really show up at this conference. Expect nothing, and maybe you will get surprised. Expect nothing, and maybe you will get nothing in return. This is why I don't overexcite myself with speculation. I like to talk about speculation. I like to discuss rumors, possibilities, potential, etc. But I don't take it at face value. I always take things with a grain of salt. Each and every single time. I always do that. Also, I'm sorry, I just ate, so I have a little bit of a clogged throat right now. But I always take things with a grain of salt. I don't take them at face value all of the time. I know they are testing RE. I know this. I know they are testing the next RE game. It doesn't mean that Capcom has to show it off. They're too busy with Monster Hunter World, Iceborne, and they don't have to show the game off right now. I think maybe some of Capcom's major releases coming out in the future will be displayed either at Tokyo Game Show, and if it's not displayed at Tokyo Game Show, where I will be tempering my expectations of that too, then they're going to show stuff off next year because supposedly Capcom is working on next generation titles. At least given the information that we have received about next generation consoles possibly popping up next year, at least I can believe this much might actually happen if the PS5 or Xbox Scarlet shows up at E3 2020. And I think people, if you don't get what you want, you need to learn how to temper your expectations. Dial the hype meter down a bit for these gaming conferences, and maybe you won't get disappointed. When you expect nothing, it really doesn't affect you. And it doesn't affect me when I really didn't expect anything out of Gamescom 2019. People called me crazy, like, you're not excited for this, You're not excited for that. Oh shit, this is a fucking rumor list from 4chan. You're not excited for this? No, I'm not excited because some of this stuff is not always real. I do appreciate the idea when leaks come out, and I'm so excited when something turns out to be actually true. But when it's not, when we have nothing solid from the developers, it means nothing. Some fucking Joe Smo could have wrote this on a forum out of his own imagination, and you're getting excited for something that isn't real. It's time to stop this overhype. It's time to make these short lists an extinction. If you're waiting for a certain game, it doesn't get announced and you get mad. I don't get that shit. Like, wait until the developer actually says something. Wait until there's more demand before jumping to conclusions. I don't understand how this new age of gamers, I don't understand how these people do not get it at all. Even E3 this year was not the best, and people still put these games on their list that they were expecting to show up, and they were disappointed. Like Splinter Cell, like the new Splinter Cell game. After a while, I just stopped giving up hope that we would get a new Splinter Cell game at E3, and guess what? It didn't come at E3. Instead, we got Watch Dogs Legion. Great. An old man could die and have a heart attack of fucking Viagra, sleeping around with a young British thought, etc. And we have this game. We don't have Sam Fisher unless you care about him being in a VR title, then more power to you. But we need to stop overhyping ourselves on something that's not verified. I know sometimes it could be great to have a wild imagination. I really know. Like, I have a wild imagination myself, but I always look at the realistic side of everything. When people get on Sega's post on Humankind and they expected it to be Jet Set Radio 3, and they wound up disappointed, it's because you made that game on your short list. It's because that you thought this rumored title was going to show up when it really didn't. I'm not that excited for Humankind. It looks like some weird civilization sim game, and I'm not really into those type of simulators. At the same time, you gotta learn to not expect things. Sometimes developers will throw out things that are common. Other times they will subvert expectations and they will throw you a new IP. And sometimes you just have to give it a shot. You never know. You might actually like this new experience over an established genre. All I gotta say is, to the people who said that I was wrong for saying I'm not really excited for some of these gaming events until they actually show something. Yeah, you can hold that loaf. You can hold it. Keep it. Cherish it. Hold it. Love it until the end, because once again, I was right and you were wrong, and you have to deal with it. Once again, I know how to handle myself around gaming publications and gaming news. And for some reason, some people cannot, because we get thrown clickbait, misinformation, all this bullshit like 80% of the time. And sometimes I just don't even bother. Unless it's like legitimate, I don't give a shit. And that's how other people should be. But I guess sometimes ignorance is bliss. Sometimes some people want to wish on a star when the reality is these games take a while to make, and I don't expect any pre-production phases to be shown unless the game is actually like almost 80% complete. When Capcom was showing off like RE2 Remake and DMC 5, they both were respectively 80 and 70% complete before they showed us anything more than just the trailers. I mean, it's a given. You know, you don't want to show off something it ends up like Scalebound, where it runs like 15 FPS, and then not expect the gamers to pay attention to any of that or be distraught that the game is turning out bad performance wise, or they just don't have a clear idea in mind for these games they are creating in the future until they have a definitive list. You never know. Maybe they do want to keep you surprised until next year. I'd say if you are a fan of these games, maybe just keep waiting, keep tempering your expectations, and maybe you will be surprised yet again. This is Renegade Operative signing off. I just wanted to throw this out there. I think people really, really need to stop making these short lists. They really, really need to stop thinking each and every press conference that comes out that's like a gaming centric event. I think you need to temper your expectations. Everything is not the next big thing on each event. Who knows? Maybe Tokyo Game Show could be trash. Maybe the Game Awards will also be trash. Maybe they will also be good. You never know. But until you learn how to control your hype, and I have a family member laughing in the background. That kind of distracted me. That's so funny. Until you learn how to control your hype, you will always be disappointed. See you later.